A woman pirate?
Yeah.
Wow, so cool. Hello everyone, look at this spread in front of me. I have my parents here and today we are trying out some Orang Laut food. So I discovered this Instagram account called oranglaut.sg and then I discovered that they do home delivery of traditional Orang Laut recipes, food. So I wanted to get my parents to try. I was very excited because they used to go to the islands that this food is from, right?
By the time we went to the southern islands to do field research, Semakau was not inhabited, so we went to Pulau Seking, which was the last island to be inhabited.
I see. So this food is actually cooked by a family that is originally from Pulau Semakau, which, if you don't know, has kind of eaten up Pulau Seking, which is the island my parents used to visit, because it's turned into a landfill, right? Which is called Semakau landfill.
The name Seking has disappeared.
So they joined the two islands together.
Yeah. And it's become partly a nature reserve and partly a dumping ground.
Yeah,
Well maintained one for
What an interesting...
rubbish from the mainland.
Okay, so let's try, first of all, there is a menu very nicely designed that was sent along. So how to enjoy your food like we did at the island. So over here we have gulai nanas, which is pineapple in kind of a tangy broth. Then there is kacang panjang asam rebus, which is like long beans cooked in a tamarind-based broth. Then there is this very amazing looking ketam lemak, which is flour crab cooked in coconut milk and spices, of course. Then sambal udang, which is sambal prawn. There is asam pedas ikan tenggiri, which is asam pedas with ikan tenggiri.
it's a mackerel.
Mackerel. Asam pedas is like hot and sour. And then this is supposed to be like the signature dish. This is sotong hitam, so this is squid cooked in its own ink until it's really thick and savory. So the guide says we should start our meal with the gulai nanas, which is the pineapple. Then this is some dried fried fish that you can eat together. You want? You want? Okay, you must eat this meal with your hands for the authentic experience, right?
Of course.
Good.
A lot of people may not know what are Orang Laut. So what's the Orang Laut? For the people who don't know.
If you spell it out fully and say Suku Orang Laut or Orang Suku Laut, it means specifically the nomadic or formerly nomadic tribal populations in the Riau Islands who are otherwise Malays in language and so on. Or it can mean just Malays of any kind who live by the sea and live off the sea, which is, I think is the case of the people who used to live on Pulau Semakau.
Because Orang Suku Laut can also be people who live in boats for their whole lives, right?
Right.
But in Singapore, do we have that?
We did. They were not just the Orang Laut on the southern islands, but they also on the northeast coast.
On the northeast coast.
Orang Seletar.
Orang Seletar. Yeah.
But Orang Seletar are different now.
But they also Orang Laut. Orang Laut is a generic category.
Oh, in case you're wondering like why this suddenly turned into a lecture, my parents are both anthropologists, so they actually do field work on cultures like that of the Orang Laut. Were you doing field work on Pulau Seking?
Yes.
What were you
yes.
studying?
Actually, I didn't know about Pulau Seking. Then, when I was on Pulau Panggil, and of course, I identified myself as Orang Singapore. And then they were the whole village. Oh, ada Orang Singapore di sini. So they introduced me to this woman who was from Pulau Seking.
Oh,
Before that, I didn't even know there was a Pulau Seking. So she asked me to visit her family, and that's how I started going to Seking. In the old days, people of Pulau Seking and Pulau Panggil would row their sampans for 24 hours to attend each other's weddings.
wow. 24 hours?
Yeah.
It takes so long?
Yeah.
Oh, Panggil's in Indonesia, yes. Panggil's in Riau. You just travel by sampan?
Or maybe use a sail if the wind was right.
Yeah, if the wind is right. I tried rowing a sampan once. It was very difficult because the currents push you here and there.
Okay, never mind. Don't need to roast sambar, we can eat the food. Okay, what's next? What should we have next?
Anything you can
Anything,
have.
I think we can just go for it. I've heard that this food is quite spicy. Did you eat any Orang Laut food when you were in Pulau Seking?
We just ate them.
Just
Whatever
obey
food
it.
was there, we didn't call it Orang Laut food. We just ate makanan Melayu.
Okay, I'm excited to try the sotong hitam. This is their signature dish.
Lovely.
So, why it's all seafood is obviously because Orang Laut eat mainly seafood, right? Did you ever eat meat when you were on Pulau Seking?
No.
So far, this meal is really good. The flavors are super like punchy, but also clean. Is this like food when you were on the islands? What do you remember of the islands? What's
Well,
your
that's-
best memory?
Pulau Seking had a nice little hill in the middle, you could climb it. They had a mangrove area which is nice to walk on, but people didn't live in.
Oh, you stayed there?
Yeah,
we stayed there for
in the
about a week.
community center.
Yeah.
We stayed in the main hall, and every morning we were awakened by children looking through the windows.
Like, who are these weird people?
yeah.
For people like me who have no idea what it was like to be on these southern islands, what was it like? Like, what's the closest thing that you can tell someone my age? Like, as an
Well-
example, is it like Pulau Ubin?
Pulau Ubin is much, much bigger than those islands.
Okay.
And people don't live along the coast except for one
Yeah.
house.
Whereas on the southern islands you could basically see all around them, which is what made them attractive, because then the people living on them could move off in any direction for fishing.
In the old days, all the southern islands, including Kusu, were inhabited.
Yeah,
Oh.
when I first came to Singapore, which was in 1964, I came by sea from Europe, and we came in through the southern channel, and it was all the islands were inhabited, and the water was full of small boats of the local people
Oh, so
rowing
nice.
back.
You
and
mean when you
forth.
came in on your ship, you could see all
Yes,
the
yes,
little.
yes. That's
Wow.
my first memory of Singapore.
All the names like Seking, Semakau, it has to do with this sea. So the name of the island is that the island, that one with the mangrove. Seking, there was a woman pirate who founded the island, and she
A woman pirate?
yeah.
Wow, so cool.
And her grave was on the island, and she was called Yang Malaki. Anyway, the island took her name, Seking.
Ah, wow. Wait, so we had pirates here?
Of course.
Like a lot?
Singapore Straits are famous for it.
Really? So when people like used to sail off, were they scared of pirates?
Yeah.
Very exciting. Was it like
Seriously.
swashbuckling?
No, they were quite bloodthirsty.
Some people think that's why the Silk Road, the overland Silk Road developed, because they were afraid to come through the straits.
But then there was,
Really?
Yes, that's one view in the history books.
Oh my god, that's so cool!
but there are land robbers too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You must understand that there were many poor people at that time, so becoming a pirate was a way of making a living. In the old days, the port is where Sentosa is, between Sentosa and the mainland. That was the port.
Between Sentosa and the mainland.
That was called Belakang Mati at the time.
Yes, I've heard this story since I was a kid. So basically Sentosa, the place that like you have your sunshine and sandy beach days, it used to be called Belakang Mati, which means like the place where you go to,
Place behind where there's death.
the place death at the back. So quite a image turnaround, I would say. Okay, time to tackle the crab. Can I get you some?
Yes.
The sauce is so good.
Yeah, very good.
Do you remember the first time eating Malay food? Your first time eating Malay food?
Not offhand, but since I
Malay-
started doing fieldwork in Malaysia, Peninsular Malaysia, up in Kelantan in 1964, I must have eaten a lot then, although I wasn't living mainly with Malays, although I did visit many Malay households too.
When you first ate Malay food here, was it like, wow,
Yeah, I instantly recognized this as good stuff and suited me fine.
This is the eternal story of my family. My father has controlled himself and stopped eating, but my mother and I have just added more rice to our plates because the gravies, all the gravies are so good. You just need more and more rice to like absorb them. And seriously, what's really nice about this meal is that the taste of each dish is very distinct. So you really get a very different experience by eating each and every dish with your rice. And I think this is honestly one of the best meals I've had in recent memory, right?
Yeah, it was really good.
Very good indeed.
Very good.
I'm so full. So have you enjoyed this?
Very much, yes.
Would you recommend it?
Definitely.
Would you recommend it? Resounding recommendation. Yeah, I would also definitely recommend it. So if you want to get a taste of how the Orang Laut in Singapore used to eat, and I think they probably ate very well, it seems, then you should definitely try out this Orang Laut food if you're in Singapore. And maybe watch this video while you do it. Why not? Okay, thanks for joining us. We've got to go finish our food, clean our hands, and digest. Bye.
Bye. Wow, both hands are dirty.